Okay, you armchair theologians. Or maybe you're just a believer that wants to know some things about what Christians believe about God in general. Well, maybe you're not ready to tackle the Institutes from John Calvin. Boy, yeah. It's like 1,000 pages. Maybe you're not ready for that. Or Wayne Gruden's Systematic Theology. Todd Friel recommended this recently on his Wretched podcast. And even I, reading, have only gotten to page 888. And it's very good. I would recommend this. But maybe those are just too heavy for where you want to be right now. Hear the impact? Well, start out good old A.W. Tozer. I knew people that knew him, and this is one of his best, The Knowledge of the Holy, talking about the attributes of God. The chapters are a couple pages, but they're rich and they're deep, and it's thin, but you'll love it, and you'll love God more as you realize more and more of who he is. Next one, J.I. Packer, Knowing God. This has been reprinted. I've been over it myself a lot, underlined a lot. I don't plan on reselling this, and it'll probably go in the garbage once I'm done with it, or someone else may want to actually see what I've underlined at some point, some of the comments I've made. I made a couple comments, but J.I. Packer, Knowing God. Years ago, as a matter of fact, almost exactly 20 years ago, I was singing bass as part of a worship team in a large church, and Christmas time came, and I bought my worship team, each one of them, a copy of that book. Worship in our age, I think, has become too much about what we feel at that time, and needs to be much more about reaching God, connecting with God, praising him and knowing him. And you need to know him better. You need to know from the Bible, of course, but also knowing him from these books, talking about knowing God. And that's also J.I. Packer's book. Again, I'll do it right here in case you didn't get it the first time. Knowing God is a very good book to help change your life. It helped me in a very difficult time in my own life. And I think it'll help you, even if you're going through times. It may be heavy for some, but Packer is really good, and I think you'll love it. So I recommend that one. The next one I have recommended is also an old one. It's a heavy one, but it's a good one. It's often overlooked nowadays. Stephen Charnock, The Existence and Attributes of God. Yes, I've been through it. This is what I do with my time. This is my idea of fun, getting to know the existence and attributes of God. You know, like in the movie Top Gun, where Goose asks Maverick when they turn F-14 over, is this your idea of fun, Mav? Well, yeah, this is my idea of fun. This is my idea of not only really fun, I wouldn't put it that way, but not on second thought, but getting to know the God of the Bible. And Charnock is one of the old Puritans, and he is a Calvinist, but he shows his work. He talks about why he believes what he believes. He bases it on scriptures, goes throughout scriptures, and he'll have you thinking different ways about the way things go as you go through this. And this is available on Kindle on Amazon for a very low price. And I actually have both this and Kindle. I got this long ago. This wasn't very expensive when I got it. And because Stephen Charnock, the Puritan author, has been dead for quite a long time, so he's not getting royalties on this. But I'd encourage you to look at this. And his take on many things is something that we really don't hear nowadays. But it's good. It's biblical. It talks about God. So, last one. I got this free from Every Home for Christ. Dick Eastman, A Celebration of Praise. If you're anything to do with worship or a worship team, a pastor, he leads you in 7 weeks through talking about God. Talks about God as the object of our praise. Right there, the content of our praise. Going through and praising God for who he is. And this comes back to probably the best thing I ever heard from Ravi Zacharias about the hard times with circumstances. We need to not get caught up in our feelings, because our feelings will vary according to circumstances, but our God doesn't. God is faithful. The more we get into knowing him, knowing his existence, his attributes, his nature, as these works talk about, change our lives, make us stable, give us a source of emotional stability, spiritual stability in our times when things change. So, having our objective worship, as Robbie talked about, founded on the rock that is God. So, encourage you to take a look at those, get those if you can, and any one of them I would encourage you to start with the knowledge of the Holy first, then maybe knowing God, then maybe the existence and attributes of God, then the celebration of praise wherever you can fit it in. And especially if you're involved with any sort of worship team, worship in our church nowadays, because we've gotten away from really focus on God to focus on working up a feeling. And I don't think that's worship in spirit and in truth, because a lot of times I think we worship the feeling. So that's all I have to say on those things, like Forrest Gump. That's all I got to say about that. And I'd like to thank you for your time. I hope this helps. And I hope there's actually a run on these books because of this video. So thank you for your time again.